Amigos de República, seguimos aquí haciendo entrevistas en este evento que es previo al Innovate Summit y ahorita me acompaña Alexander Kulitz, que es diputado en el Parlamento alemán, además de estos portavoz de temas de política y comercio exterior. Alexander, welcome to Guatemala, welcome to República.
Thank you.
Well, let's talk a little bit about entrepreneurship. Why entrepreneurship is so important, especially in little countries like Guatemala, for example?
Well, I think entrepreneurship is not really important as itself, but the quality of entrepreneurs is what countries need, because if you want to put a society in the situation to kind of move forward, to look into the future, you need decision makers, you kind of need leaders. And where do you get them? Well, entrepreneurship is nothing else but taking the responsibility on taking decisions every day, and that's kind of a quality small countries and big countries, all countries need, and it's kind of what makes the difference of an entrepreneur to somebody else, and I believe it's a quality every society needs.
Okay, perfect. How has been your experience, like for example, in your company, all these challenges of entrepreneurship and all this stuff?
Well, challenges, an entrepreneur has challenges every day, because that's everything about entrepreneurship. You have to take a decision, sometimes very quickly, sometimes you're not as informed as you should be, but still, and if you're lucky, it was the right decision. If you're not so lucky, it was the wrong decision. And sometimes there's decisions that are just fatal. Sometimes the decisions, you just have to cope with it. And as an entrepreneur, you always have to take the responsibility for your decision. These challenges, you have to face them every day, but there's several challenges you can influence, and there's other challenges you cannot influence. For example, there's some challenges on the market. Is your product still valid for the market? Is the innovation still working? Is the client, the customer still satisfied? Those are things you can at least try to influence. But there's also things you cannot influence, like the political framework, for example. If there's a trade war at the moment going on between America and China, there's nothing you can do as an entrepreneur. So you really have to cope with the situation, and some challenges you just have to face them, and you just have to get around them without being able to influence them. Other challenges, it's up to you to cope with them and to influence them.
Okay, perfect. I know you work a lot with young people. How has been your experience working with this kind of people?
With German people?
Young people, like young
yeah.
or millennials, I don't know.
Well, sometimes it's also tough to work with German people.
I know.
But,
well,
no.
that also, yeah.
Well, yes, I used to be the president of the Junior Chamber of Commerce in Germany,
really?
and the Junior Chamber is the biggest association of young entrepreneurs.
Oh my God.
Of course, it's there's three types of entrepreneurs actually in Germany. For one, you have the classical family businesses, the old economy that are being inherited, or the successors, usually young people who kind of have new ideas, new creativity, but take over very sustainable old companies. On the other hand, you have the business leaders and I would say manager of public companies, of big companies. And third, and not least, is the startup, which is a completely different kind of mindset, a completely different way of approaching things. But all three types are entrepreneurs, and all three types are young entrepreneurs. Sometimes it's very difficult to get them to talk to each other, because the mindset of all three types of entrepreneurs is completely different.
Yeah, I can imagine. So what's the best advice you can give in these years of work experience for us?
Well, being here in Guatemala, I had a lot of talks also to some of my fellow congressmen in Guatemala, and I believe without being a professional on the market, there is still a lot of challenges, mainly on the political side. So if there's too much bureaucracy, if the labor laws are just being too strict, if it's not possible to have the market freedom you need as an entrepreneur to kind of develop your ideas, then my best advice to Guatemala would be, well, get your political stuff sorted, because if you don't get the proper balance of laws and of freedom, of market freedom, it's going to be very tough for ideas and young entrepreneurs to develop their ideas on the market. But you definitely need to have new entrepreneurial power and new companies on this global market to kind of be successful in the 21st century.
Well, thank you very much for the interview, Alexander, and for being here in Guatemala and here in República. Y gracias, amigos de República, por estar aquí el día de hoy con nosotros. Ya escucharon el mejor consejo que Alexander pues, nos da el día de hoy. Es que pues obviamente nos enfoquemos en las cuestiones políticas para enfocarnos también en un libre mercado en Guatemala, que es la única forma en la que podemos sacar pues a nuestros emprendedores y sobre todo pues también bajo un buen imperio de la ley. Así que feliz tarde y seguimos mañana con esta transmisión del evento del Innovate Summit.
Muchas gracias.